Italy has two micronations within its borders. The largest is the Republic of San Marino, located on the northeastern side of the Apennine Mountains. It measures 24 square miles, or 61 square kilometers, and has a population of around 35,000 people. The capital sits atop Mount Titan, and San Marino is the oldest existing sovereign state in the world, dating from AD 301, and the oldest constitutional republic. It is also one of the world's wealthiest states. The responsibility for defending San Marino lies with neighbouring Italy, but San Marino nevertheless maintains a small army of its own. The oldest unit of the army dates from 1295 and is called the Crossbow Corps. Consisting of 80 volunteers, the Crossbow Corps wear medieval uniforms and provide crossbow demonstrations. They are 100% ceremonial. The main military unit is the Guard of the Rock, or the Fortress Guard Corps. Created in 1754, the unit provides ceremonial guards to protect public buildings, particularly the Presidential Palace and other buildings in San Marino City, the seat of the national government. The Guard of the Rock is a full-time unit. Their uniform consists of a green, double-breasted tunic and red trousers, topped with a black kepi with red feathers. The uniform is only worn for ceremonials, otherwise they wear green bomber jackets, red trousers, and green peaked caps. There is also a part-time artillery company attached to the Fortress Guard. They fire the cannon on the Palazzo Pubblico on ceremonial occasions. The Guard of the Nobles, more properly the Guard of the Council, was formed in 1740 and are volunteers, providing ceremonial guards to government officials. Their striking uniform is a dark blue double-breasted tailed tunic with gold ornamentation, dark blue trousers, white gloves, and a cocked hat with blue and white feathers. This force is armed with sabres. Then there is the Company of Uniform Militia, all members of fully trained soldiers, though part-time. They support the gendarmerie and the civil police. Men and women serve in this force. They wear a dark blue uniform with gold epaulettes, white cross belts, and blue kepis with blue and white hackles. They are armed with swords and pistols. Providing music for ceremonial occasions is the military ensemble, numbering 60 uniformed musicians. The paramilitary police service, the gendarmerie, formed in 1842, protects citizens and provides law and order. They are supported by the municipal police, which are not part of the armed forces. In the Pyrenees Mountains, between France and Spain, the Principality of Andorra is a tiny landlocked nation that measures only 188 square miles, or 468 square kilometers, and has a population of just over 77,000 people. The capital, Andorra la Vella, is the highest European capital city, standing at just over 3,500 feet or 1,000 meters. Andorra dates back as a state to the Emperor Charlemagne and became independent in 1278. Politically, it's a co-principality, the co-princes being the Bishop of Urgell in Spain and the President of France, currently Emmanuel Macron, making him an elected monarch of a foreign country. Andorra is a democracy with its own parliament. The official language is Catalan, with Spanish and French also spoken. The army of Andorra hasn't seen action for 700 years, and today the army consists of just 12 men. However, it is understood that in an emergency, the entire adult male population is liable for military call-up, and therefore every household has a weapon. Shotguns are unlicensed, but permits are required for rifles and pistols. The 12-man army are all volunteers, and their uniforms and weapons are handed down through their families. The army has handed over its responsibility for internal security to the police corps of Andorra. This paramilitary force today numbers 240 well-armed officers. The 12-man army's main role is representing the flag of Andorra at official functions. Next is a tiny country nestled in a beautiful alpine valley between Switzerland and Austria, the Principality of Liechtenstein. It is a constitutional monarchy. The Prince of Liechtenstein is among the wealthiest men in the world, and the citizens of the tiny micronation have one of the highest GDPs per person on Earth. Landlocked, Liechtenstein measures 62 square miles or 160 square kilometers, and its capital is Vaduz, dominated by the princely castle. The population numbers about 40,000 people, and German is the national language. It is not a member of the European Union, maintaining close ties economically and politically with Switzerland. A remnant of the once numerous tiny states that made up medieval Europe, it was elevated to a principality in 1719 by the Holy Roman Emperor. The ruling princes didn't actually visit the nation for another 100 years, preferring to live in splendor in their palace in Vienna, Austria. But from the end of World War I onwards, the princely family have actually lived in Vaduz Castle. Today, Liechtenstein is a financial center, and the prince is the world's 6th wealthiest monarch, with a fortune of $3.5 billion. The Liechtenstein army was disbanded in 1868 for financial reasons. At the time of its disbandment, it comprised 80 men. Thereafter, the principality declared itself permanently neutral, and during World War I and II was not occupied. The only armed force in the country today is the National Police, with about 90 officers. There is, however, a paramilitary force called the Security Corps, which is the de facto army, numbering 38 men. This force provides heavy backup for the regular police, as well as performing military functions such as changing of the guard at the royal palace and presenting the coat of arms at official functions. Like Liechtenstein, the Principality of Monaco is famous for its great wealth. Located on the French Riviera, close to Italy, Monaco is also famous for its casino and Grand Prix Formula One race. Home to almost 40,000 residents, Monaco is really tiny, only 0.81 square miles or 2.1 square kilometers, making it the most densely populated country in the world. The official language is Monegasque, and the nation is a constitutional monarchy, but its ruling prince has considerable powers. The princely house of Grimaldi has ruled Monaco since 1297, with a palace in the capital, Monte Carlo. The Monegasque army is called the Public Services, and due to its tiny size relies on neighbouring France for military protection. The military is divided into two sections. The Corps de Sapeurs-Pompiers is 135 strong, providing fire, hazardous materials, rescue and emergency medical services. As well as being full-time firefighters, the unit's members are all firearms trained and use army ranks. The second unit is the Compagnie des Carabiniers du Prince, or the Palace Guards as they're often called. Formed in 1817, they number 124 personnel, all trained by the French army. They guard the prince's palace. Included in the force is a motorcycle section to escort limousines, a bodyguard unit, a diving unit, and a military first aid unit. Attached to the palace guards is the military orchestra, consisting of 24 soldiers. Formed in 1978, it is purely ceremonial in its duties. The other microstate in Italy is, of course, Vatican City, also the world's smallest country. Located in the center of Rome, Vatican City is only 121 acres or 49 hectares in size, with a population of 825 citizens. It is ruled by His Holiness the Pope. Vatican City is also the headquarters for the worldwide Roman Catholic Church. Vatican City as a state emerged out of the old Vatican states in pre-unified Italy and became a tiny independent country in 1929, though it had been the capital of the Vatican states for centuries. It is the only remaining absolute monarchy in Europe, the Pope being a temporal elected monarch as well as a spiritual leader. Its most famous buildings are St. Peter's Basilica and the Sistine Chapel in the Apostolic Palace. Vatican City also controls some buildings and estates outside of the boundaries of the city-state itself. Its tiny army is world famous, the Swiss Guard that protects Vatican City and the Pope. One of the oldest military units in the world, it was founded in 1506, and its official name is the Pontifical Swiss Guard. As the name implies, all its soldiers come from Switzerland. New recruits must be unmarried Swiss Catholic males between the ages of 18 and 30 who have already completed basic training with the Swiss Armed Forces. The unit uses German as its language and German ranks. So why Swiss? The Corps is basically a band of hired mercenaries, their use dating back to papal alliances with the Swiss Confederacy in the 15th century, and the Pope's use of Swiss mercenaries during Papal States wars against the Duke of Milan and the Kingdom of Naples. They morphed over time from frontline soldiers into a corps of bodyguards for the Pope. 515 years after its formation, the Swiss Guard numbers 135 men, all of whom must be at least 173 centimeters, or 5 feet 8 inches tall. Most famous for their full-dress uniforms of orange, blue, and red stripes, and their silver morion helmets with ostrich feathers, the uniforms differ depending on rank. In 2019, the traditional metal helmets were replaced by ones made of PVC for better comfort and also ventilation. The ordinary soldiers, called halberdiers, carry the halberd, a long medieval polearm. Corporals and vice-corporals are armed with the partisan, another medieval polearm, while senior NCOs and officers carry command batons. All ranks are also armed with a dress sword. As bodyguards, more functional uniforms are used by units not on formal guard duties, with simplified working dress. Modern weapons include the Sig Sauer P220 pistol and the Sig SG 550 rifle, employed because all recruits would have already trained in their use by the Swiss Army before joining the Guard. There used to be 2 other ceremonial units that guarded the Pope, but they were both abolished in 1970. The Noble Guard was formed in 1801 as heavy cavalry. They used to provide a mounted escort for the Pope's carriage, and also guarded his apartments inside the Vatican. It was an all-volunteer force recruited mainly among Italians, and they used dragoon-style 19th century uniforms. But by 1970, the unit was seen as elitist by the Pope and out of step with the modern image of the papacy, and was disbanded on short notice. The other unit that also disappeared was the Palatine Guard, created in 1850 as a papal infantry force. Basically a ceremonial unit of part-time volunteers, they patrolled Vatican City. In 1939, the unit was 500 strong, and during the wartime period, they were involved in several standoffs with Mussolini's black shirts and also with German SS security police that attempted to enter papal properties to search for political refugees and escaped Allied prisoners of war. By 1945, the Palatine Guard had grown to 2,000 armed men. Their uniform remained a 19th century dark blue infantry uniform with shako or kepi. It too was disbanded on the Pope's orders in 1970. Today, apart from the Swiss Guard, the Vatican has one other semi-military force for its protection. The Corps of Gendarmerie of Vatican City, a paramilitary police force formed in 1816. It mostly recruits Italians and deals with borders, public order, traffic control and civil investigations, and criminal investigations and so on. Today, the Gendarmerie numbers 99 well-armed officers. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and share, and also visit my audiobook channel, War Stories with Mark Felton. You can also help to support both of my channels at PayPal and Patreon, details in the description box below.